Hi guys, it's Matt here from Oathwire, and today we have got another episode for covering Rangers of the Shadow Deep. And today, this evening, today, and my very late evening, I've got Robert again, who has already guested for me on Oathmark, all the way over from Discord. How are you doing, Robert?
Not too bad. Can't complain. Enjoying the holiday season.
Indeed. Lots of gaming opportunities, painting opportunities that none of us will probably take.
Apropos, I have managed to get in the first few missions of Rangers of the Shadow Deep in the main rulebook with my new party. So that has been a lot of fun.
Okay, that sounds cool. So we are going to jump straight in and see what's new. Nothing out there at the moment for Rangers at the moment. We know the latest book's been out. We discussed that in the last episode. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, guys, go and get it. But what's new on your painting table? What's new on what you doing?
So as I mentioned, with my new Rangers party, I've been making sure to paint all of those since I have a bad habit of only painting like the main figures and then leaving like the goons, so to speak, unpainted. So this time I did a little better, and I have a pool of about 15 or so models I can pull from for my party. All of them are painted. So that's what I've been working on.
Nice.
My party of Laurenthian survivors, hell-bent on revenge.
Oh. Yeah, if you haven't seen those models, go over to Discord. You've posted them up in the Rangers channel.
So in the Rangers of Shadow channel, I posted up the ones that I recently painted. I also have a number from the last time I played Rangers that were already painted. So I have not posted those pictures, but at some point I'll post a family picture for the whole squad.
People keep telling me I have the ability to do these things and put these into the podcast when I put it up on YouTube. Now I have no idea still how to do that, so please go to Discord. I will try and put the link in below on the YouTube and in the description, so you can go and have a look at his models. What have I been doing? I've been doing a bit of faffing, most scenery, to be honest, bits and pieces. Brett, who's my counterpart on mini war footage, did it. I had some of those Rune War wood elf ent type spirit things, and I've been using them to make wonky trees, so I did that. They look pretty cool, so he did that. I nicked his idea, so I've been doing that and just making up some bases, and I've some 3D printed bits and pieces that I've been making up, some scatter terrain, swampland type things. So I've been doing that. I do those intermittently between painting figures because I find it gives a good break. They're easy to do. You feel like you've finished something. So
it's definitely like a little palette cleanser. Sometimes when I go to thrift stores, I'll look in like their little like you know how like they have like the aisle that's dedicated basically like old lady knickknacks.
Yeah.
And you'll find like nativity statues and things like that. So some of those actually make for pretty good terrain. Yeah. So actually, if you go to the Discord as well, there's a picture of some like statues I've been using that look very Lord of the Rings-esque, like these serene kings, and they're just nativity statues that I just bought for like 50 cents each.
How cool.
And just painted up. They look great.
See, every time I go to these like discount stores and dollar stores, and over here they're called charity shops. They're thrift shops. I go in and it's just full of actual rubbish, and I'm like, where's all these trees at? Where's all these excellent knickknacks? I think I just don't go in them enough. I sort of go in there once a
You do gotta get lucky, yeah.
once a year. I don't think so. It's going to cut the mustard, but it's got great idea. I have got some great skulls from Halloween that I got. So they're sort of. I'm going to make some sort of monster thing for sort of scatter terrain for Rangers with blood pouring out of its mouth. So
that's pretty cool. I have an aquarium skull that I got for like $5 that has like moss and stuff already on it. So basically the only thing I had to do was make the moss less vividly green, and it was ready to put on the tabletop. So you can find all these cool little things.
I've got an aquarium ruined Greek temple that's I've half listen again. Half finished. That's an easy finish for me. That's an easy finish. I should just be able to. I've flopped it. I just need to put some stuff on it, and it's done. But I haven't got round to doing that. That's probably going to get knocked up with my 10 mil army for Oathmark that I'm working on as well at the moment. But
that's the wargamer's curse, right? Is the grass is always greener on the next project.
Every single wargamer I know is a butterfly. But yeah, so
it's genetic, I think.
It is. It's just like pretties, pretties. But yeah, we are going to be covering Rangers, as we said, and the topic that you wanted to speak to about and go over today was character curation, wasn't it not?
So yeah, just kind of like party creation, I think was the
party. Yes, indeed.
Party creation.
Yeah.
And it's not that I have any like specific like razor sharp insights. It's more just I think it's something that you want to consider. Like you should give some amount of thought to the companions you're taking. I guess I want to say, because the game will become harder or easier depending on how you set up.
No, I completely agree with you. So off you go. Let's start at the beginning.
So I think like I think kind of like the default approach for Rangers, at least this is what I've noticed, is that you kind of was like you see all these cool companions, right? And you're like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you kind of just take like one of everything you can squeeze in. It's like a good example of this is Ash Barker and Guerrilla Miniature Games.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about Ash there. So you were saying about one of each.
Yeah, so he is a great example of that. Just that is Rangers series, which if you haven't watched, you should watch. It's great, especially if you're interested in the game and want to see how it works. It's amazing. Yeah. But he's kind of taking one of everything, and I think that's definitely a fun play style, and I think you get to kind of explore the different companions that way. But I also think that there is maybe some drawbacks to that. So when I was a young wargamer, a Imperial Guard player in 40K gave me a piece of advice that has stuck with me since. And that piece of advice was, if it's worth taking one of, it's worth taking two of.
Okay.
And so that doesn't always apply literally. Like you shouldn't have a party that's just like 3 pairs or whatever.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said for having backups, because how many times in Rangers has your prize model, your Templar, or even your Ranger gotten dice spiked by a rat and just gone down like turn 2 of the scenario? Like it happens.
Oh yeah, it does.
And if you were relying on 2 or 3 models to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then those 2 or 3 models get dice spiked, well, things go south.
They do quickly.
And so I think that's something that when you're building your party, like theme obviously should come first. I'm not suggesting that you should be sacrificing all at the altar of min-maxing, but rather just keep in mind that things are going to happen that are not going to be great in the game, because that's how it's set up. You're going to have your prize fighter is going to get mauled by a gnoll. Your ranger will take a bunch of damage from a giant rat or a giant fly or a skeleton or any of those other lowly monsters that always seem to roll 20s.
For sure.
And so if you've planned for that and you have more than one party member that can do something, you are going to be in a lot better shape than if you haven't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, when I bring in mine, I always try and make sure there's 2 range guys for starters. Only because that, I think in Rangers, having Rangers is a distinct benefit. Comes to the monsters, being able to take down the zombie at distance is useful, and I always make sure that my Rangers got some sort of spell that's useful against the undead or something like that, as well as having one of my having one of my guys having something along those lines as well. So
just kind of being prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's not always undead coming up. So yeah, but you can change that as your gang goes along if you wanted to. So
yeah, and I think that that kind of plays into like the second aspect of party creation I was going to talk about, which is just like opportunity cost. In that when you're taking things on characters, like you mentioned, for example, you have like a anti-undead spell on your ranger just in case. Like that's going to be a good ace up your sleeve, but it also comes at the expense of whatever other choice you could have taken, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, depending on especially if your ranger is, depending on where you are with your rangers, in a campaign, how many points sort of up the scale you are. If you're going to be taking, I've completely lost my thread.
No worries.
Yeah. I completely lost my thread there.
Just kind of like opportunity cost, just like because like you can I generally think that like, and this is more like again in that kind of like strategic level, so like feel free to ignore this because it may not matter at all to you, but I think rangers are probably better off specializing at something. Like if your generalist ranger is gonna like be okay at everything, but your ranger could also just be fantastic at one thing.
Yeah,
like you can definitely gear up your ranger to be a monster in hand-to-hand combat with the right heroic abilities, maybe casting armor and enchanted steel on yourself. You can definitely make your ranger into just this like nightmarish opposition for the bad guys.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
And you can also make your ranger into like a deadly sniper. There's the right heroic abilities for that. You can gas up your shoot over time as you level up, or you can make your ranger just a devastating wizard. That's what I've been doing on my most recent ranger, and I gotta say, split casting a burning mark is some of the most fun I've had in this game, especially with that wand that gives you +1 to the magic shooting attacks. Because there's going to be choke points in some scenarios, and when you get like 4 gnolls bunched up, and then you put 2 burning marks right next to each other, and the first gnoll moves, and then all 4 of them are taking 2 + 6 shooting attacks. That could be like scenario winning right on its own, and it's a lot of fun. You can picture it in your mind, just the explosion, the look on their face right before it just kind of like wipes them off. But yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is you only get so many actions with your ranger in a given game, right? So like let's say the game lasts 8 turns. If your ranger is just making a bunch of like +2 shooting attacks and +3 melee attacks, like that's fine, but that's not really like their full potential, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I mean, from that point of view, I mean, I've been playing a lot of co-op. So I found that when I'm doing a co-op, having that sort of specialist ranger really works, because you can have you fill the gaps. I'm going to be we got a combat heavy guy, we got the sniper, you've got the magician, and then you've got a other. So
you got the generalist.
So if you can fill those gaps in really nicely, if you've got the 4 of you playing, even with 3, we've been able to do that, and you don't have the generalist, so it's easy to do. But when you get to solo play, how I would, I don't know if that would work for me. It's just maybe the way I play. Having that, I think personally, I'd like to have the skills to be able to get around and do the better more. And to be honest, if you can, specialize as you go along. But
oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to cripple yourself either, because like what's the quote that like specialization is for the insects? That like you don't want to like make yourself so overwhelmingly good at one thing and so overwhelmingly terrible at everything else. Like that's definitely not how you want to go through raging. You're not gonna have a great time that way. And that is actually one of the reasons I love skills in this game, is that it definitely fleshes out your person more than just their combat. Like it gives you a sense of like who they are, what they're good at. So like for example, my ranger that I'm playing with now, my fluff in my head is that he was a temple guard in Larenthia.
Okay.
And so he's got his 2-handed sword and he's got armor, but his main thing is just that he knows a bunch of spells.
Okay.
So usually he's blowing stuff up, or he's buffing himself and then going into fighting. And so in congruence with that, I took like ancient lore, read runes, that kind of spell. That kind of skill. So he's not really your traditional like Aragorn style ranger. He's more just kind of this magically inclined guy who also waves around a big sword.
That's cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, mine just because I got into it through playing D&D. So
it has that feel.
Yeah, definitely. So mine is definitely an Aragorn-esque ranger because that's what I played in D&D.
He's iconic for a reason, right?
Yeah. Half. I sort of in my head, it's always a half elf sort of ranger that I played in D&D, and that's kind of what I've got in as my main protagonist in Rangers. So, but yeah, so yeah.
I do find that like similarly, I kind of have like a type of character I play in D&D in these kind of games. I like doing stuff with magic. I like blowing stuff up.
Yeah. No.
If I can work in a big old two-handed sword, like more's the better.
Even yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been the guy that's sort of sat sneaky at the back, making sure that we're picking off saving the bacon and picking off the guys, but then if you can, and then being able to get in and doing damage with the sword later on. So
bow and sword in accord.
I've never been really worried about spells for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it was wizard.
Yeah, I'm just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's wizards and that's hairy fairy stuff.
I was, but the only thing I was gonna say, I was just gonna circle back really quick because I feel like I didn't I didn't quite express my point how I wanted to. But like in terms of opportunity cost, I guess what I was kind of driving at is that if your companion can do something like specialized, it's usually better to leave it to them. Yes. And I think the best example of this is the Conjurer, because the Conjurer has this amazing little thing in their text box that is you get to pick which spells they have before each mission or each scenario. The Ranger doesn't. You get to change one spell when you level up. So if you lock yourself into that spell that gives you +8 against a giant fly, you're going to love that you have that when there's giant flies. When there's not giant flies, you may as well not have that heroic ability or spell. Whereas your Conjurer, he can take those situational kind of like spells that aren't going to be good all the time. He can take them when they're needed. And so if you really want those situational spells, you probably are going to be better off bringing that 20 RP Conjurer than you are going to be burning a heroic ability slot on it.
No, yeah, absolutely, and that's the beauty of that is you've got that little backup, haven't you? So, it's a bit like Oathwire. You don't have to choose your spells until you get on what you're playing. That's what it is. Is you're sitting there going, well, I don't have to pick my spells because that's not necessary. Okay, you've got that. I can do this. And you flip the scenario over and you go, oh right, okay, there's no undead in this. My ranger's got undead, something that affects them undead. I'm going to take something else. So when I've played solo, I've always taken a Conjurer just as a backup. So
yeah, they're a great kind of glue piece in that they're going to give you an edge in whatever scenario. Like even if it's just like you're facing the Terror Wing, well, take the spell that debuffs them.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make everybody, or take the spell that gives everyone +3 shooting against him.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to do anything himself to make everyone better.
And if it's safe around near them, and they're also, they're using their spell up and all that sort of stuff, and you think they're great to go and send off and go and get a clue marker.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're a great treasure monkey too.
Yeah,
carrying that treasure around once everyone else is finishing off the bad guys.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's what I've used them. They're not great in combat. Let's be honest.
But I mean they don't need to be.
Going anything bigger than a giant rat.
And even then, it's just dice.
Then you don't want to.
You just hope he rolls. You just hope he rolls higher.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah. So, what else have we got going on? So,
I think we're just going to touch on the homebrew aspect of Rangers of Shadowdeep.
Because I believe you have been writing your own stuff.
I have been. So I started the last time I went to the Rangers of Shadowdeep. I want to say I got all the way through Burning Mark. And I finished not Burning Mark. I finished Burning Light, the 8-part campaign. And I started writing these homebrew missions, and I got really excited. Then I think actually I got into Oathmark, and that kind of distracted me. And so I have these unfinished missions that I'm revisiting.
All right.
And there's so much potential for like, just in terms of scenario building. It almost blows my mind how perfect this game is. This game is a homebrewer's dream, because it's set up to let you do so many things, to create the mood you want, to create the experience you want. Like, just in terms of clues, events, like it has this already built in. You don't have to add anything. All the tools you could possibly want are there already, and so there's just so much potential. Like, if you want to make the Odyssey and you want to play through the Odyssey, you 100% could, just using the Rangers of Shadow Deep engine. Like, it is just perfect for that. And you can even imagine the rules, like the Cyclops throwing a rock at you, trying to sink your ship. Oh, it's a +2 shooting. It's easy to slot almost anything you can imagine into this game. I love that so much.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about it. You use it. I mean, because there's quite a few bits and pieces out there, isn't there, that people have bolted on. The Cthulhu one and others. I can't think what they are off the top of my head. The Cthulhu's one.
I know Joe did the Mythos one for Shadowgrave. I want to say it was one of his magazines.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Where he did the Mythos edition for all three. Yeah, you 100% could make this a Cthulhu game. There's no reason why you couldn't.
Yeah, no.
Use the investigation, bring in a sanity mechanic. So if you find the right/wrong clues, you go insane.
It'd be easy to do. Yeah, I love I haven't sat down and done any myself. I've fed off everybody else's and trying to play the campaigns as well. You know, it's so many games, so little time, as they say. But but it's for me, you've got you've got the bestiaries is there. The monster manual. It's not a monster manual, but we won't. I don't know if that's copyrighted.
I think monster manual is, but bestiary definitely isn't.
So you've got that. You've got that there, so you've got everything, and it's not. If you have a look at some of the guys, the last review we looked at, they came up. They've made their own monsters, so that ability's there.
Oh, definitely.
Well.
You can also steal things from Frostgrave and Stargrave. Heads up.
Absolutely. If you have a look at the new Silver Bayonet, there's a how to make a creature section, monster section in there.
Oh.
So
I might buy it just for that.
Yeah. So you can go in there, have a look at that, and then it's D10s in sort of, but it's not that it's not that difficult to just. It's a D20.
No, you can reverse engineer it.
Yeah, the basics are still there. The movement. So you go and use the rules that he's used in there. But again, it's not. That's like you said. You can go and use. Let's go and use some Oathmark monsters in there. Go and bring an Indrik in. Go and bring. The Frostgrave. You have the zombie troll. Oh, was the zombie troll in there already? I can't remember.
Is that like the ice gorillas? The Frostgrave actually is a great example, because like there's so many just weird individual monsters and like all the one-offs that have been written for Frostgrave.
Absolutely.
There's dozens of ideas you could just straight up lift. No shame. Plop them in and you're done.
Absolutely. Just basically look at that's the stats. Yep. Let's lift that there. And you can do that. I keep on banging on about trying to get people to write me an Oathmark role-playing game. I can do that and bring all of these things so we can do that. I also don't want to GM it, so somebody else needs to do it. I just want to play.
I feel that. forever DM here. I know the pain.
I've got a DM, so that's not a problem for me. It's just I don't want to DM this one. So, everything's there. It's nicely laid out. Like you said, to be able to get, you go, well, how many clue markers am I going to have? Okay, that's easy. What's the, I don't know about you. I've written back in the day. I used to play D&D, the proper, but not.
Of course,
I don't mean that. But I had some modules, but I didn't have the money as a kid to go and buy all those modules. So I had bits and pieces, and I used all that and wrote all my own up. And I think if you can dedicate the time into it and play test it, it's just beautiful to be able to sit there and say, well, here's a mini series. And I'm not, Joe takes, spends a lot of time doing his, and they're perfect games, but he does the whole scenario pack. There's a lot of thinking to be done in there. But you want to do 1 or 2 games in a scenario, it's easily enough done as far as I'm concerned. To get it play tested amongst your friends and that, obviously, get it written up, so it's playable. It's not going to be probably not to the quality that Joe's got it up to, but and what I think
that's nothing wrong with a B+.
Say again.
Nothing wrong with a B+.
Absolutely. I got by life with C+, so there you go.
C's get degrees.
C's a pass where we go. But you get that opportunity to create something with your friends and do something a little bit different, and it also brings that creative side into, I think, that Joe gives in all his games. It gives you the ability to take hold of the lore, and make it your own. I suppose Rangers is quite. It's a bit like Frostgrave, isn't it? It's got a background lore, but I think Alador's probably a little bit. It's a little bit more in place.
But it's just vague enough that like you can fill it in basically however you want. Like basically the only real fixed points for Alador is that there's a Shadow Deep on one side, there's a vaguely defined series of principalities on the other, there's a desert in the north, and then there's a forest in the south. And you can do whatever you want within that. And you can do anything outside of that if you want to. Go ahead, change it up.
And it doesn't say how big, small, or whatever. So, you could.
It's exactly as big as it needs to be for the plot.
Exactly. So, if you want to make your own world around it, you can. There's already maps there to show you, but you can expand on those maps. You can.
Set it up for a country on the other side of Shadow Deep and have your guys meet in the middle.
Absolutely. So infinite possibilities, and that's why I really like it. There's Joe. The fact that Joe embraces the guys that are out there that are willing to spend the time and do that. He produced the cover version so that everybody could add that to the scenario, that when they upload it, that's amazing. All right, I mean, from one point of view, he wanted to make, because I know some of the guys were sort of using the official sort of IP stuff, and he wanted to break that up so it can identify it easy by sight, which is, I get that, that's his IP, and that he gets done in the artwork and all that is done. But the fact that he just says, can you use this? I've got it designed for you. Are there other games out there that do that?
None that really come to mind quite to that degree. That are actively being supported by their owner. I can't think of any, honestly, off the top of my head.
No, I can't either. I mean, I may be wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. But
the only thing I can think of that's comparable is like I don't know if you've ever played any Elder Scrolls games, where just like Skyrim, Morrowind, and Oblivion, but like those games are always like a giant buggy mess whenever they get released, and so they basically become dependent on modders fixing them and then adding in just like infinite content. And so like it has that, Rangers has that same kind of feel where like there's this core product and then you can add on to that in any way that you want, and it's set up to help you do that. The tools are in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and it brings so much enjoyment. So I mean, how do you, when you sat down to write your stuff up, what's your thought processes around getting that done?
Usually I start with like an idea, something that inspires me. So like, for example, one of the ones that I want to really finish quickly because I want to play this is going to be called Hammer of the Gods, and it's going to be a barbarian invasion from the north. Or there's some prophet that's stirring up trouble in the barbarian tribe, saying that the Shadow Deep is the will of the gods against Alador. And so you have to go decapitate the head of the serpent and silence this prophet before the barbarian wave crashes south. That kind of, and just like it, I want to say the idea came to me because I was listening to Immigrants talk by Led Zeppelin. I was like, wait, what if I just did this in Rangers?
Yeah.
And so like it's a classic trope, right? Like the barbarian hordes, and I once you get that core idea, it's easy to spin off of there because like you're like, okay, so I want to do something with barbarians. Why are the barbarians fighting Alador? Well, this mysterious, nefarious figure is telling them it's the will of God. And then from there, you kind of just keep answering those questions, and before you know, you have a story. And then you just kind of fill in the specifics of the scenario.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you've got right there. You've got so you know, if you want to do the barbarians from the north, you could use the Frostgrave barbarians in their woolly jumpers and furs. So you've got the models there, and if you're doing it already, you've got that. And then there's plenty of barbarians. I think has Cobblestone got any barbarians? Are they all 15? I think
I don't think they have
maybe they're all 15 mil. Yeah, they're all. I think maybe.
But Reaper has tons of barbarians. If you want barbarian characters, like Reaper has some great ones.
It's just going to get me. If I bought barbarians, I'm going to be going to the old Grenadier sculpts, UK.
I'm sure those are fantastic.
UK, yeah, the UK Forlorn Hope stuff. I just needed it. I've just been waiting for an excuse to buy them, and I haven't had it yet.
You guys are spoiled for choice up there.
We are, my friend. We are.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Forlorn Hope, Grenadier was an American company, and you can get them from Italy and the UK now. So if somebody obviously saw some profit, and I'm grateful for it. It's a shame Italy, we've left Brexit because pain in the bum now because the Italian guys actually do a few more of the casts. I don't know why. Maybe they some more of the mold.
I know there's some native Italian companies like Fireforge. I'm pretty sure is an Italian company.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Italians got some few decent companies come up now, but this one they bought the Grenadier, so they're actually doing some more of the molds, some of the different figures you can get from the guys in the UK. They do like the mammoth and the massive woolly rhino and stuff. So
all the cool stuff.
But they're classic. They're the classic barbarian, you know, cloth and a double
Frank Frazetta style.
Yeah, it's Conan.
Yeah. So like that's just kind of a good example. Like if there's like models you want to use or like something cool from a movie or book you want to recreate, well, my friend, Rangers of Shadow Deep is going to be the game for you to do it in. It's so easy to port basically anything you want in. Yeah. So like I'll do a little teaser of I'll just tell you the names of the missions I'm working on. So the first one, I think you can probably guess what it involves just off the name. The first one is called Monster Hunt.
Okay. I'm guessing there's some hunting of monsters.
Yeah, just a little bit. The next one is Road to Ruin. And I might change that to Long Road to Ruin just to work in the Foo Fighters reference.
Yeah.
Then we have the Egg Romancer. And then the one I just told you about, the Hammer of the Gods.
Yeah.
And then the final one that I just had the idea recently for, and I really want to work on this one. So this will probably be number 2 in the queue. I haven't picked a name for it yet, but I want to do like a Heart of Darkness scenario, like a river voyage.
Oh.
Like, can you imagine? Oh, what's that?
Apocalypse
I love this. No, I love that too. But like, I love this movie. I can't remember the name. Aguirre, The Wrath of God.
Yes.
The Werner Herzog movie, something like that, where you're just going down the river. There's disease. There's monsters. There's people firing poison darts at you, which I guess in this case will be gnolls. But there's just that's such a perfect Ranger scenario. I could just picture it in my head, just sailing down the map as things are getting flung at you, and you're fighting disease and madness and searching for some legend. It would be perfect. And so that's going to be number 2. Thank you.
Yeah, that just immediately load of things exploded in my head because I'm making like these sort of swampland sort of scatter terrain at the moment, and then I'm thinking, I'm thinking sort of bayou type stuff.
Oh,
and then I'm thinking, wait there, what could I put in there? Frostgrave lizardmen, you know, you got
crocodiles. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
You know, and then you got all that, you know, you can Yeah, all the Ghost Archipelago stuff can fit nicely into it. I think.
I'll tell you, Reaper Bones Black. They have a great looking dire crocodile.
There you go.
It's
Dire
this long.
Nice.
It's a big boy, yeah. So if you're looking for more Bayou stuff, check out that guy.
There
I've got a couple of them just in case and I've got some of their dire crabs. Ooh, I might make this river voyage end up in Bayou. So we can all win.
Do that. I'll write a Bayou end. So I think.
Hey, if you want to write a scenario, I'm down. We can collaborate.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've just inspired me, my friend. So I've been. Not that I ever need an excuse to buy anything.
Oh no.
But you have given me a reason to buy some lizard men. So I think it might be a thing.
This is going to be a good one. I can feel it. Yeah. I can feel it in my bones. This is going to be a good one.
So we're going to do that, guys. Official Oathwire / Discord / Robert and me doing a scenario campaign that goes through from down to the river into the bayou. I think that sounds like a good plan, mate.
That's good to me. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. And we got the. I sent you the information for the Oathmark one as well, so we might have to put that on the back burner at the moment, and then flip back to that.
Maybe once the holiday seasons are over and our ranger fervor has gone down a little bit.
I think that's. I think we've definitely got a thing there. We can talk about it where we're painting. I'm for a week. You're off for 2 weeks, or we're about. It looks like we're about to go in a lockdown in this country. So
yeah.
So
may as well take advantage.
If I'm working from home for 2 weeks as well, nobody from work listens to this. I'm hoping. Yeah, I can sit there and tippy tappy as well away as well on that.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Don't tell anybody. No, I wouldn't do that.
That's a hush hush.
It's company policy, and I would only be working on my official work. So just to cover my arse. But yeah, no, that sounds. Oh, I love this. I love the fact that we're going to now do this, and then we're going to get that out to the guys out in the world, because there's loads of really good stuff out there, and you never know. Joe may pick us up and get us into a fan-based.
Oh, hey, he did do I was going to mention he did publish 5 fan scenarios, which is like I'm going to say this, Joe. If you ever listen to this, that is one of the coolest things that anyone has ever done in the miniatures wargame industry, and I love you so much for that. You are not just an inspiration. You are. I'm gonna use some internet slang here. You are a bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so I that just impressed me so much. That was one of the, like I said, one of the coolest things I've ever seen in this industry.
Yeah,
it's just bring up some people who love the game that he created, and giving a little bit more exposure to the work they put in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could, yeah, you can't ask for more, to be honest. Yeah, he's obviously impressed with what people are doing, and then just bringing them into that. Yeah, I don't know. You know, if this game was massive, you know, D&D massive, if that would happen still, because I don't think I think for Joe, I'd love that to happen, because obviously that would make him financially secure for the rest of his life and his family's. You know.
Think how many games we would get to.
Yeah, I know, man.
But yeah, there is a downside there, right? And when we're at this kind of smaller indie level, like creator is someone that you can hypothetically talk to.
Yeah, right. Like, I have.
Yeah, you have. Yeah,
I mean,
I've listened to you talk to him.
Yeah. I spoke, you know, and I ping him and he answers me. I don't bother him very often. I know he's a busy man and he doesn't need fanboys barking at his door. But you know, if I'm asked for some help, you know, gave me some prize support. He didn't have to do that. Signed some books and stuff and sent me that. You know, and you know, from that side of things, I mean, I may be wrong, but you know, if I'm in a bigger, you know, if I'm in WizKids, I don't, you know, I imagine if I Facebook somebody from WizKids in a module, I ain't gonna get no answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I remember when I was a kid, I wrote in some fan letter to the company that made Crash Bandicoot, and I was like, "Oh, this is the character that I made," and they just sent me back some some stock form, right? And like, but like when you're in Rangers, if you create a scenario, there's a chance Joe will see it.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't, like the community he's created will see it, and some of them will probably play it. And like there's I don't know, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. This group.
Absolutely, I think it's part of why this game is brilliant. And like you said, if it wasn't for the fact that it's an indie game and that we wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do with the game, and and get excited by it, and see the bits and pieces. And Joe works hard at it, I know that, and he said to me, about the current book. He said, I think, it was a lot of hard work for him, and he wouldn't do a trilogy again, which is what he's done. So,
with the Across the Waste.
I
can imagine that being quite a bit of work.
So, I mean, if you look at it, sort of one-shot campaigns, aren't they? Really, they're not one-shot adventures. I don't know. They probably are one-shots.
I do like that, even though not all of them are because not all of them are connected in the way that Across the Waste and Dungeons Dark. Is it Dungeons Deep or Dungeons Dark? I always say one instead of the other.
Yeah.
I'm getting I don't know if it's the Lord of the Rings quote. I'm just getting wrong in my head, but they're connected, right? And then the other ones aren't. But I feel like I like that all of them bring something that you can use beyond just. Because, for example, in Ghost Stone, you get the the weapon horde, all those cool magic weapons.
Yeah.
In Across the Waste, you get the herb system. In Dungeons Deep, you get the dungeons, and you also get the shadow magic. These things that you can bring into your campaign, even if you don't ever play through the specific scenario in the book.
No, absolutely. I would. I'd like to see some sort of what would be called, Joe, if you're listening. A vampire one again as well. So. Ooh.
That would be cool.
I think that has to,
bring in some gothic horror.
I just think there's a twofold bracket around that. I know Nick has told me that there's likelihood between now and April they're going to be releasing a vampire. From North Star, so that'll be kind of cool. That's going to be an Oath Market one. So. That I suspect.
Yeah. No reason we can't work it into Rangers.
Yeah, well, it's going to be able to use. They kind of like that, though, aren't they? Let's be honest. Joe does the same. He tries to work what's across all of his different books, so we can buy that and we can use it on more than one game. There's North Star, obviously, going to be able to put that, and you've got vampires. You've got the new Frostgrave book out. It's got vampires in it, etc., etc. So. That'd be kind of cool. Who doesn't like a vampire?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can just this scenario almost writes itself. Just like you're going to the village on the edge of the kingdom, and all the villagers are scared and won't go outside at night. And you have to figure out why. And then, oh look, you get attacked by the vampire's minions. Then you have to go up to his castle. And then in the third scenario, you get the boss fight. Like it basically, and that was just 30 seconds off the top of my head.
Exactly.
It writes itself.
Yeah. It's you get Van Helsing type.
Yeah, exactly.
just Rangers.
And
you can use all those that pulp sort of gothic horror figures that you've probably got sitting around, or STLs that you've bought that you never know what you're going to use for, because it seemed a good idea at the time. So there you go, Joe. We've already written your next.
We want writing credits. Yeah. get us in the book there.
We want no. So yes, anyway, we will move on. We're going to do the section that I introduced in the last Rangers, which is we are going to look at a fan-based adventure that we've just been talking about. So I randomly pick what we're going to look at. So and it's just, again, like we said last time, this is not about ripping it apart. This is looking at what's good and what we think about it, and just having a general chit chat about what the guy's done, the person's done. So The venture we are looking at today and is called The Shadows of the Forest. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the introduction because I think it deserves it. As the fissure opened and swallowed the Larithian, the shadow deep began corrupting everything. The once fertile and healthy soil of the woodlands had become corrupted. The once towering trees are now twisted. I'm going to go back on that. Sorry, mate.
Oh, noise.
I got to count myself back in that because that was weird. Does that say trees are twisted and rotten?
Now. I think it's
right.
typo.
Yeah,
it's a typo.
Yeah. That's why it's okay. 1, 2, 3. The shadows of the forest. As the the fissures. That's what. As the fish. 1, 2, 3. As the fissures opened and swallowed Larenthia, the shadow deep began corrupting everything. The once fertile and heavy soil of the woodlands had been corrupted. The once towering trees are now twisted and rotten. Lush green grass turned to dust. Damp soft soil turned to rock. The sun has been blotted out. Deep within the once bright forests was rumoured a tree of life. The sap from its bark could heal almost any ailment, illness or injury. Even if this turns out to be only a rumour, the risk of leaving it to the gnolls and other evil forces is too great. The king sent out an order for any brave souls to band together and to go and hunt the tree. A suicide mission by all accounts. So yeah, good little setting there.
Yeah, I like this. This is like the tree of life or like the tree of healing. That's kind of like a classic fantasy trope, right? And like the search where it's like I'm on board already because like you have this feeling it gets you, like especially in that first paragraph where it's like it's dark and gloomy, feels like it's closing in on you, and then you kind of get the feel that your rangers are. You kind of get the feel of what your rangers are about to go through. I'm a fan of this. Maybe a little bit of editing would have helped, but it's great.
Yeah, I mean it looks good. From the sort of point of view from sort of formatting, it's kind of good. It's everything you expect. It'd be nice to. I know not everybody can do art, but if I would say might need it a bit because it's kind of it's very word heavy, isn't it? So
yeah, and with FanWorks, the great thing is you can just steal artwork off the internet because you're not getting paid for it. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't just steal artwork from other games or whatever. I
would definitely say that wouldn't hurt, but it doesn't take away from what he's done here. And I forgot to mention the fact that this is written by Jon Broker or Broker. I apologise if I can't pronounce that. Yeah, that's Broker, and I'm English, so I don't know what anything says.
Well, yeah, just thanks to Jon because this just going off. This is clearly took a lot of work. There's 3 missions here that we're going to look at, and there's like multiple scenarios per mission. This is clearly a labor of love, and so I just want to give a huge shout out for that. Just I love this. I think you guys should check this out.
Absolutely, I think you've got. Basically, you could start this off. Well, I had a look at it. You can start this off from entry level rangers, so you could start with an experienced one. You can always obviously make it a little bit harder, sticking in what you got there. I mean, the first mission you've got some dark root and vines and a troll. So
if you want to make it harder, add a second troll. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. There's always that, and everybody's favourite. If you needs a little extra, just randomly start whacking bloody giant rats because you always can have some giant rats on the.
And they always roll 20s. There is one thing before we get into too deep. This is kind of an interesting move I think they made with the event deck. So they are doing a slightly different version of the event deck here, where you're having 2 red suits or suites. Yes. So instead of just doing like diamonds or hearts, you're doing both, and so that way you get more duplicate events. And so some of the events are specifically labeled so that if you draw it a second time, you just discard and keep drawing. But so essentially these scenarios, most of the events that can happen twice. And so I think that's kind of interesting. That is something that happens in some of the missions already. Like if you look, for example, at the broken stairs, most of the events have duplicates, except for like the one where you find a corpse, because like it's just flies appearing, right? There's only so many. But like, so this is an interesting move. I think it definitely can make it feel a little bit more random on repeat, or not repeat, but if you replay it a second time, it's going to feel different, because with the increased randomization, you're unlikely to get the same sequence of events.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, good spot there. I didn't notice that myself, so, and that's why we're reviewing these. I mean, experience-wise, it's some good experience on there. They haven't put the there's no limiter on, from what I could see, on the experience you can see there, but there's nothing insane. You can't. There's nothing that's going to make you very fast. A super ranger. So
no, yeah, it all feels very in line. And yeah. I like that one of the XP points is not getting poisoned at the end of the first game, because poison. So this is like a very like botanical series of adventures, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
True life, you have dark roots, you've got all sorts of plant stuff going on, and so you get XP for each guy that isn't poisoned at the end of the game, which is kind of that's an interesting little condition.
Absolutely.
That incentivizes you to maybe avoid combat in situations where you would otherwise just kind of dive in.
Yeah, because we always just like, oh, shall I go and finish that? No, let's not go over. Let's not go.
Yeah, I will admit I kind of tend towards just mindlessly killing everything.
Yep.
So giving me an incentive as a player not to is a good move.
It's like, oh, I'm going to go and kill that zombie over there for the extra experience, So even though I don't need to. And it's actually, thinking about it, it's actually quite good to go and see that we've got that vine roots back in, because there's lots of people out there making it up or buying bits and pieces or printing it off, and you don't get to use it very often. So the fact that there's it's back in a scenario is handy. You've got more than one use for it. I
think it's one of the more interesting bestiary ones, for example. And I like that it's using it, like you said. There is one other cool thing in the experience here. It's an alternate win condition, basically, where you get +8 XP if the dark root body is destroyed while no dark root vines are on the table. So again, this is making it more than just attacking things mindlessly. You have to sequence here to get this. Yes. And if you want to get that +8, you have to time this well. You have to kill the vines. You might not have that big of a window to do this because another vine might show up from an event or something. So you may only have a turn or two window to actually pull this off, but if you do, you get that extra 8 XP. So I like that. That's a cool little thing.
It is. It's very cool. Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah. Okay, and then we move on into a massive greenhouse. So the greenhouse provided a few clues as to whereabouts of the Tree of Life. However, it did not house a threat that needed to be dealt with the Rangers. So they travel deep into the Shadow Deep. So this takes us up to a 3x3 table, which
if I have a minor quibble with these adventures, it's that unless you have a specific reason to, I think it's probably best just to stick to the standard 2.5 by 2.5.
Yeah.
Because people may be using mats that are not quite the right size, or maybe they have a built board or whatever. So unless you have a particular reason you need the extra 6 inches, I think you may be, you may be better off just sticking with the 2.5 by 2.5. But that's a quibble. This is not a criticism.
No. Yeah, no, I built a board. So mine's 2.5 by 2.5. So I cut a piece of wood, so it's that size, because I didn't want. I've got mats as well, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm a mat guy. They're so convenient.
Yeah, it's a very minor thing, but I can see your point, and it's not a criticism. It's just viewing the scenario. Okay.
It's just a point of convenience for any potential players you might have. But that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just move again through, and we've got some special rules in there around the dark root body.
Like these.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to fight with 26 health. So if you've got
there is a way that you can knock 12 points off, or 16 points actually.
Yes.
Which is. Oh, sorry, you're probably about to get to that.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, just that this scenario has this scenario has a really cool setup where there's a tower in the middle with the main dark root body, which as Matt was saying, is the big one with +4 fight, 26 health. But there's 4 roots that are kind of feeding this and making it strong. And you can make strength tests to pull up these roots. And if you do, it does 4 damage to the main one. And I love this. This feels almost like a video game, like boss fight, where you have like the little things around the edge of the map you have to run and go get while the boss is trying to like throwing things at you.
Yeah.
Like this is such a cool setup. I love that. This is out of the box thinking. This is the kind of thing that you can just go nuts with when you're building your scenarios.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I was exactly what I was going to say. It's for me.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's that's why you're invited on, mate. Because I want your thoughts as well. Everybody can. Otherwise, it'll just be me talking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's really cool. I just like the fact that you could think, well, I'm going to send a couple of parties off there and have a main one to start attacking, and they're going to start ripping them up. And maybe as I get closer, I can start whittling it down. That comes up. I can move into the next one and next one. So I like that. You can break your group up into a little bit of a sort of a hard-hitting core, and maybe 1 or 2 guys goes off to go and fight up and try and rip those roots up. There's definitely lots of different opportunities in there to do. And you got the clue markers. I love that. Oh, you got some dung, smelly and disgusting.
I do really like that he's done like the classic thing that Joe does, where there's 1 or 2 more results than there are clues. Yeah. Because it gives you an incentive to replay, right? Because you're not always going to get the cool one.
Yeah, no.
You might have to replay it.
Yeah. And you're not always going to get the experience for guaranteed, which is also good as well.
I always failed experience rolls, like for the extra experience ones, when it's like the target number 6 roll or whatever. I have failed almost all of those with my new ranger. I think he just doesn't care. He just wants to kill more things. He's just failed so many of these rolls where it's just like roll a 1 or 2, or roll anything but a 1 or 2 to pass, and just 1.
Yeah, and I like the fact he's got this special clue marker and actually ancient lore or survival in there. So, you can get it, which is really cool, and you get that nectar of the tree of life. So it's a really powerful thing, but it's actually a target number of 16. So there's no guarantee that you're going to be getting that. So he's definitely gone. That's some really good thinking there. Actually, I like that. So again, the experience, there's a lot of, you get some experience for identifying what kind of poop it is. So you're a scat expert. That's brilliant.
Got to put that college degree to use. Right?
Absolutely. And the end there is finding that the vial for 20 XP. I mean, that's a massive. Finding the special clue marker as well. You get it. So you could, you could ramp up really quickly with that one. So. Getting that. I
do like that the next scenario, it doesn't assume that you were the person that found the vial. It just says somebody found the vial. Yeah. So like even if you don't find the vial, like the story is still progressing. You weren't the lucky party, so you don't get the vial, which is actually super cool because it can save one of your guys from dying, and you don't get the 20 XP. So better luck next time, kid.
Yeah, and that jumps you straight into the next mission, which is forging a path. The Rangers return from the outpost. Go over everything they have recovered. Some have found nothing. Others have found a few tattered pieces of evidence. A book here, a map there. Luckily, one ranger had found what they need. Proof that the tree existed. A small sample of nectar in a bottle. The word is sent to the king, and their findings he returns it in kind. Troops, supplies, rations, and everything else needed for an expedition is sent. The rangers prepare as they must venture deep into the forgotten woods. So yeah, we got jump straight in miniatures. We know what's coming. We got gnolls, we got ghouls, we got ghoul flingers, giant spiders, terror.
Ghoul flingers are kind of silly to me, just because like they're throwing like little bits of bone at you, and somehow they're almost as good as like if they're shooting you with a bow.
Yeah,
I just thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
he hits you with like a chicken leg and you die.
Eat my chicken wings. Zombie chicken wings.
This was lunch. He's just pulling out of a KFC bucket. And
no, I'm not going to be able to not see those without those doing that. Cool chicken wing flickers. So it goes into it, gives you a little bit of a pre-mission on there. So it gives you some sort of parameters around starting the mission. So you can, says players should review the clues and supplies they gathered from the first mission, which is a really good idea. And they may choose to trade certain supplies for new items, which is really cool. That's not been, is that been done before? Don't think it has. But.
I don't think it has, and I really like this because like they're in pretty much every scenario. There's like the one like quirky item you find for experience, like the book of poetry or the lover's letter, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I like that the one they use for this one is something that continues to be useful because it's botanist notes, and so if you have them, it makes you immune to poison.
Yeah.
Or you can trade them for 2 herbs or potions. And so I do like that it continues to be relevant as the missions progress.
No, absolutely. I think that's a really cool little bit of thing in there. You can, get the tree of life nectar, or it may be traded in for 3 potions of healing. That's super cool. Yeah.
Which like that's a fair trade because like saving someone from death is a big deal, but also 3 potions of healing can prevent you from ever needing to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we get to scenario 1 again, capturing through the brush even, and it's 2.5 by 2.5 table again. So we've got that little change in there, but I don't think it's not the end of the earth. And then we got a big chunk of special rules in there. So
basically, for the people listening, this one is the gist of the scenario is that there are walls of thorn, like in a Sleeping Beauty, like that kind of thing. And that so there's like several walls of thorns, and if you found the map in an earlier game, you get 1 less of them, which again is kind of cool, bringing in the things you found from the earlier missions.
Absolutely.
And so you're just trying to fight your way through these while gnolls attack you.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think it's it looks pretty good. You have to try and get the strength test to rip the walls apart. The thick forests make it really difficult to shoot. So what we flip back to earlier, you may have taken a specialist along, trying to clear out a long range attacks that's going to really curb those. You've got low cover and high and heavy cover, so that's quite interesting. And then you've got, after turn 2, the players randomly determine a board edge that doesn't have any clearing, and the gnolls and the wolves start turning up. So that's quite cool as well. And we got the 6 event cards again, 7, 8. So yeah, this looks a bit more fighty, this one, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
One thing I really like about this one is that you have to make it off the table edge, and if you don't, there's an actual penalty, not just in terms of losing experience, in that your guys get lost and they don't show up on the first turn of the next scenario, which I think is really cool because
it is.
Gives you kind of an it ties the theme to like an in-game consequence. It's like if your guys get lost in the woods, well, they're lost in the woods.
Yep. And so it's got that sort of chopping through, trying to break through the enemy kind of feel, and everything's against you, and you get a nice big chunk of experience for getting your heroic figures off the board. So that's kind of cool as well.
Although I will note that is binary. You have to get all of your guys off. So if you don't get all of them off, you're actually not going to get that much experience from this scenario.
No. So it may be.
I wonder. Yeah, I was wondering if it might have been better to have the setup where you get like +3 experience or whatever for each hero that gets off.
Yeah.
But I mean, the all or nothing is also what makes it a little more intense.
It does. I mean, and the thing is, do we, the temptation is there to sit there and try and make it a slaughter house, and maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you want to try and push through those walls, cut through and break through and get everybody out and keep the bad guys at bay more than actually just sort of take them on.
Yeah, that is true actually. Drive them back and move on.
Assault, it might work, but let's be honest. When we're getting that swing on those dice, is that what we want to be doing? I would no. I don't know. It's definitely one of these ones that I would like to play. I have printed off all of the scenarios on Facebook. My plan was to get them all played, but time.
Yeah, I was hoping to play at least one mission, but unfortunately I haven't yet. But I do plan on playing this one because, as you said, these missions have interesting dynamics to them that I want to see. I want to see how they work out.
Definitely. So then we got going to the Crutch of Waters. Again, we moved to a 3x3 table, and this one's got more of a river in it. So you need to make sure we get some water. So not too difficult if you've got a lot of terrain, or even little bits of terrain.
What I've been using for my rivers for Rangers of Shadow Deep in my current terrain limited state is the newspapers here come in blue bags, and they're long. They're long and they're about 3 inches wide. So you lay down a couple of those, you get a river. Awesome. They're blue even, which helps.
It's really cool. Yeah, no, I've got some various bits and pieces of river, so I just use that. So use what you got, guys. That's the best thing.
Yeah,
Again,
if all you have is a blue shirt, roll it up, you're good.
Yeah. We've got some special rules again. So we've got evil energy in the water. So getting in that water is not going to be great. You got to get willpower test on there, and you just sort of basically have all your energy drained from the body, and the ghouls are immune to the effects of the river. Not good. And then
I like that gives the ghouls an edge because they probably need it.
Yeah, they can be a bit a bit of fodder, really, aren't they? Let's be honest. So they can be killed off quite easily. And then we got a few more clue markers here. So we got lots of different options there with the clue markers, and we've got another 7 on the bits and pieces. And it's not XP heavy, but there's, again, like I said, that we've got to be able to do the bits, get those clue markers, which you might not be able to get through on the game. And
this feels to me. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
And it says, as it says, assuming the Rangers have survived, proceed to scenario 3. I don't. What's your thoughts?
I was just saying, this kind of reminds me of the middle scenario in the Into Darkness mission, the swamp one.
Yes.
Where it's like you said, it's not super XP heavy, but it's like a prelude. It's setting the scene for like the big finale.
It definitely is, which takes us onto the Temple of the Secret Water. So again, we flip down to 2.5 by 2.5, and this one is in a temple, and pools of water in it. And then we've got a lot of special rules. We've got terror wings in there. We've got tormented souls. So that's that's good. The terror wing action, that's a new thing in there. I really like that. To use sort of the AI for the terror wing.
Yeah, it makes the terror wing feel more like an actual like boss monster instead of just like a lump of meat.
Yes.
Which is my only quibble with the terror wing in the main rule book, is that it doesn't really do anything that special. It just has bigger numbers.
Yes.
Whereas like this terror wing, like it has the actual things it does, and like I like that not all the things it does are like necessarily like the optimal decision. So like it feels more like an individual thinking, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna go cast hold person on this guy, or I'm gonna zap that guy. So it'll have a personality, I guess is what I'm saying, in game that it otherwise wouldn't have.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I really like the little bit there, the AI extra you get from the standard rules. So that's a really good thought out bit he's put in there, and we get lots of events going on there. You got the red jack in there. It's only once per game, and then again having the Rangers survive and their terror wing is killed, is complete. I think that's going to be a quite interesting one to play. I don't know that looking at it, you'd want to make sure that if you started a new Ranger group, that it's got a lot of those XP from the earlier battles, so you get up there quickly, because I think it could be quite dangerous.
I really like the events for this one because a lot of them are basically like recharging the terror wing. So for the fans at home who aren't looking at this in the moment, so like most monsters and Rangers, if they have a spell, they have an infinite number of it. Essentially, they can cast as many times as they need to. The terror wing in this scenario does not. He starts with 3 uses of Magic Bolt, 1 of Hold Creature, and 1 of Shield of Light. But there are events that will let him recharge spells. Or there's events where like he'll release a burst of energy and clear all the tormented souls, that kind of thing. So again, this has the feel of a boss fight. I really like the way this is done. It's going to make this terror wing is going to be a very different experience than the Terror Wing in Burning Light.
Yeah. It's not just sitting there being terrory.
It's not just sitting there waiting for you to get
Yeah.
4 guys in melee with it, so you can get that like plus 10 bonus or whatever.
There's a lot. It's got those 4 extra options. It's making sure that it can cast a shield on itself if it, you know, it's starting becoming wounded and all that sort of stuff. So great looking game.
And if you kill it, you get 20 XP. So it is worth the price of admission.
Absolutely. And then we get into mission 3, in the shadow of gods. So reinforcements are requested, is all it said after the battle with demonic entities, simply known as the Terror Wing. The company has a dire understanding of what they're up against. The trail continues past the temple, leading deeper into the grove. The demon clearly wasn't the leader, which meant whoever summoned it was a powerful being. And if it truly did exist, then odds were they were in control of it. Preparation underway. The Rangers are looking over everything as they are waiting for response. It didn't take long before a caravan, which is given detailed directions to find their location, came into view. Supplies and soldiers were at their disposal. Before they could take any action, they needed to know what it was they were up against. The company planned for a small scouting mission. So we move back into the miniatures. We've got another Terror Wing. We've got ogres. Everybody's got some ogres. If you've got them from the original game, the figures, it's good to have them out. And we got the dark roots in there, flesh columns, and your ubiquitous gnolls are always there. So that's good. And your first scenario, guerrilla warfare. So the scouting party was sent with a simple goal: gauge the strength of the enemy forces and disrupt any operations. So this time it actually goes down to a smaller table size, which is a 2x2.
Which I think getting smaller is definitely like just like logistically for players. It's always easier than going larger because you can just like it's like this is a tip I picked up actually from Ash and Guerrilla Miniature Games, that you just adjust the deployment zone if you have a bigger map than is required. It's easier to go down than it is to go up.
It is, yeah, absolutely. But what is, I think, really interesting, he said those select up to 4 figures for this scenario, and one of them doesn't have to be a ranger.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, because this is the one I didn't get a chance to look at in depth.
Yeah. Ah, okay. So yeah, basically it says, so you're sending anybody. It's a stealth mission. It's not a choppy mission. So you could send, some of your better.
You're trying to search the carts.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going in there just to go and this isn't about oh, no, I like that. I like games where it's not always about gaining XP through killing everything off. So you can do that.
Alternate. I do like that kind of like alternate approach. And there is actually a reason for you to leave your ranger at home, which I like as well. In that you get maybe I misread this, but basically you get extra XP if your ranger survived.
Yes.
And then, which I guess, the game was gonna be over if it didn't survive anyway. So maybe like slight tweak there to give you more of a reason not to take your ranger. But maybe it's maybe scenario 2 will have a payoff there that we haven't seen yet.
And you get that XP for not being identified. You get XP for finding stuff inside the, and it goes up. So it's really, it's about you not fighting, and I like that. I like the fact that it's not. He's gone to that. You get, again, it's just out of box thinking. I really like. Yeah, no, I really like that.
Yeah, there's definitely you can kind of see like the creativity at work here, just in terms of like the actual play experience. It's not just the standard kick down the door, kill everybody kind of.
No.
Mission.
Yeah, maybe. It's quite possible. I would suggest this person has written scenarios for role-playing games before, because it definitely gives that. He definitely gives that vibe off. That he's used to playing that kind of game where you don't. Everything's not always about combat. Because if you're playing role-playing games, and all you're doing is rolling dice for combat, then and it turns into a bit of a dull game in life. And that's what
you want to do it in balance, right? You get the fighting is definitely fun, but if that's all you're ever doing, it can get a little tedious.
Yeah.
You want to put those skills to use.
Absolutely.
It's kind of fun little stealth missions.
Absolutely. And then we move to the Weeping Tree itself, which is
the climax.
This is the climax, and that moves to a 3x3 table with a very large tree in the middle. Yeah, it looks huge. You know, we've got skeletons, we've got gnolls, we've got gnoll sergeants, we've got archers. Yeah, it's a big old. It's everything that you normally see in the big boss. He's got all his buddies turning up to try and stop you. There's lots going on. You've got 11.
One thing I love here is that if you didn't kill the Terrorwing, guess who shows back up?
Oh yeah. That's, it's all kinds of starts of problems there. The ritual table. Got Shadow Knights. I mean, it's just everything that's going off all at once. There's just masses of stuff going on.
This word gets overused, but this is the epic part of the epic part of the campaign, right? This is the big battle.
Yes, and there's just a bucket.
Part one of the big battle, I should say.
Yeah, buckets of XP there that takes you through, and so it's just I can that's going to be one of those beautiful. You're going to die or you're going to become victorious. It's going to be one or the other. There is no in between. It's not like, it was all right in the end. So, and then it moves on to the final battle, which is the life and death. So
I like that. Oh, sorry, real quick. Just at the end of the scenario too.
Yeah.
Specifies that leave the board the same. You don't heal, and nor do you get to reset up your guys. So however you finished, that's how the next scenario starts. So you don't get to heal either. It's just right after.
Yeah.
I like that feeling.
Yeah. No, and so you'll just basically jump into it. You've got the Tree of Life has got 4 charges in it, so they can go and try and get healed, which is pretty cool. Again, we've got some really good special rules in there, and then the Vukak is back and he's weakened. And the Rangers have failed to protect it, and that's it.
If 2 evil creatures are in contact with the Tree of Life in the start of the creature phase, the Tree of Life gets corrupted and you lose. So there is this kind of like King of the Hill type gameplay, right, where you're trying to protect the tree, beat back the gnolls, which is fun. The Last Stand is one of my favorite Ranger scenarios. This has that feeling. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It looks a super cool set of missions there and scenarios. I think he's done an amazing job there. So well done. If you haven't played it, go and have a look at it, and you're looking for some more Ranger stuff to do. If you have played it, when I post this up, and if you do listen to it, it'd be great to let us know how it played out. Let people know. Just add a comment on here when I post it up into the Facebook group or whatever. So but well done, John. I think we're both impressed with the amount of work that's there, and that's just sort of the way it works, everything there. So, but okay.
Yeah, this is inspiring me. So I'm gonna make a pledge on air, and I get the benefit of that. You won't hear this pledge until after I've accomplished it or not, which is that by 1 week from now, so on the 27th of December, I will have uploaded a Rangers mission to Facebook.
Nice.
So, and again, if I fail to accomplish that, well, whatever. You won't hear this until well after.
January.
Yeah.
Look,
so hopefully I'll try and have 2 by the time this airs. Yeah. That's probably a better pledge.
Normally we would do the 10 questions for round. But we've been going for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, probably.
I think we're going to move on from that, and just to keep the into sort of some sort of manageability for people. Me, because I've got to edit it all. I think we could probably go on, Robert.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
I think we've definitely got kindred spirits within us, so that we can sit here and talk. And for quite a while, we've been talking before this.
Yeah,
we've been
this is enjoyable.
We're like 2.5 hours into this, guys, and you're going to get about an hour and a bit of it. So we gossip along. So, but yeah, no. So I just wanted to say thank you. We're not going to do the quiz. We're just going to move on.
Do we have time for a silly question?
I'm just about to get.
Like you said, kindred spirits.
It has to be done. It is the rule. So, but what I'll do is next time you're on, which I can't see when that is, but it will be soon. Just decided.
Yeah, we can do 20 questions when we record the Mark one. We can make up for this one.
Good. So yes, we are going to move on to the silly questions. Okay, so the silly question today is for Rangers of Charity. You have gone you're a conjurer, a companion conjurer, and you go to conjuring school, college. I don't know where they go to go and learn their magic spells. Unfortunately, you are both late for the enrolment, and all you've got left for spell class is veterinary skills and spells to help you with that. So the question is what spells are you hoping to gain to become a ranger with veterinary skills?
So I am going to go with SWAT, the spell to take out giant flies, because I don't know if the conjurer that is me is truly cut out to be a veterinarian. So I'm going to go in, and while they're teaching me like how to take care of a fly, I'm writing down the weak points of the fly. So I'm taking the opposite lesson. They're trying to teach me how to heal. I'm learning how to hurt.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna come out of this with an intimate knowledge of how to just demolish giant flies.
There we go. And there's plenty of giant flies. I mean, personally, I would some sort of spell to give rats diarrhea might be useful as well, I thought.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so many potential applications. I thought I'd go with the rulebook spell, trying to.
That's fair enough.
Try and ham it up.
Yeah. I just made a whole new one. Rats with diarrhea. So.
Hey, well, that can go in the homebrew mission. We can write a spell for giving giant rats diarrhea. They're down to half movement.
Yeah. Unpleasantness that would incur. Don't think I want to play that game. But yeah.
That's understandable.
But I just want to say thank you for coming on for this episode. I really much appreciated. It's been a great episode for me anyway, and I hope it's been a great episode for the listeners. And I will say good night to you, Robert.
Oh, good night to you as well. It's always a pleasure to be on. I'm glad to be here.
And I will say good night to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And see you soon. I'll speak to you soon.